So, good evening once again. My name is Professor Richard Watson. You're welcome to this particular class, which is MSBA 512, Data Security and Privacy. And this is the access program, which will give you certain fundamentals that are relevant for building understanding and capacity in data related issues so that you are well prepared to take up the main program in MSBA. That's the Masters of Science in Business Analytics. So partly what I'll be doing with you today is to take you through this course. We'll start with looking at the syllabus, then we can then get to know each other, then we can then start the class. So my name is Professor Richard Watson once again. The course is being taught by two lecturers. The other lecturer is Dr. Divine Agozi, which you know is your course coordinator or program coordinator for the program that you are taking, move the access and the main program. And then occasionally we joined by Dr. Jonathan Bano, who is one of my former PhD students. And he's currently chairing a session for me in another course. But he will be is a cyber crime expert. His PhD is on cyber crime, and he's very versed in this area. But he is in University of Education Winneba, but he steps in to co-teach with me on sensitive topics like this, which is related to his research area. Okay. So what are we trying to do? In this age where we talk about data being the new oil, our objective here is to try to understand some of the security issues and related issues with privacy and of data. So we look at the managerial level understanding of data security and privacy so that we can apply it in our office environments, our workplaces, and then our projects, and then maybe personally in our own understanding of achieving security and privacy when it comes to data. We also try to understand how to categorize different security issues, which are information related or is initiated with around data. Then we will try to also understand some of the rubrics that go into differentiating what is personal and what is institutional, and then the related laws in the Ghana that governs it. What we'll not do is to do data governance because that's a major course that you do whilst you're taking the program. So these are just basic steps that should I say, you take towards understanding or taking a full course in data governance later. I know some of you like to get into data governance, but this is not data governance class. The data governance class, I'll be teaching it to the year two students from um ending of what's the name? Ending of I think first week in June. The year two students will be doing the data governance class, and I'll be taking them. But you are year one sandwich, so you do it in a defined period. But if you happen to have some free time in the evenings and you want to join the class, I don't think I'll sack you. So you can just get an understanding about it. Okay. So this is a very good background um or fundamental piece of work that you do towards data governance. So by the end of the course, at least a student should be able to identify the different types of security risks, not all of them, but at least appreciate them. How to be able to maintain and build an information security department, policy and disaster recovery plan. That's if there is time, we may go into deeper. This is getting into the domain of governance, but we'll get to know a foretaste of some of these things and then be able to anticipate security threats and appreciate them maybe by studying previous case studies of what has happened in some institutions and be able to know whether we are the institutions that we belong to are even going to such. Then we would also be able to appreciate some of the policies that govern or the legal issues that govern the security, privacy of data within the Ghanaian context and sometimes in the global context. So these are some of the things that we'll be doing. The class will, I'll give you slides. I have some slides I'll be using, but the slides I built around a book that I have. I'll share the book with you later when it's out on Amazon. A book that I have in data security and privacy, taking the first steps. Yeah, we clean it. I'm on the last few stages of wrapping it up with Amazon, and now it will be out there. But I'll give you a student copy for you to PDF copy for you to have. So, but if you want to buy, you can buy it from Amazon for your own personal library, or when it comes to the Lego bookshop, you can go and buy. But you will still have the electronic copy. Just that it may be watermarked as a student copy for you. And then ACC, who is the rep for the class? Oh, he's not here. Oh, she's not
Yeah,
here.
please. I'm here.
Hey, Auntie P. Hey, Auntie P. Okay. Is it Patricia or
No, it's a Samwabia.
Auntie B? Okay, Auntie B, Asamabia. So did she say Auntie B or Auntie P?
No, he said Auntie T. It's Auntie T.
The T is for.
Tina.
So what's the full name?
And it's Tina a Samwabia AG.
Auntie T. Okay, Auntie T. Okay. So that Charlie, you're welcome. I feel your name, bruh.
Thank you.
Oh goodness. Good. Good. That's a good one there. Okay. Me, I'm just Professor Richard Watson, so there's not much to learn about me. You can Google me and then know a little bit about me. But apart from that, I'm here to teach you. Okay, so because you don't have much sessions, what we'll be trying to do is to try and crash some of them together. But we'll cover as much as we can cover. The rest you can read from the book. That's why the book we made for you free. At least I can say that we'll cover the introduction today. We'll get to know some foundations of information data as information asset. If possible, we enter the data foundations of data security. That's supposed to be the next session, but if there's possibility today, we may touch it. Like just that sometimes the class is very engaging. So the first day they can sweep you so many questions. And then they go to privacy and data protection. Usually we combine two and three, but let's see. Then we go into major data protection privacy regulations across the world. We look at that from Ghana, the one from the Europe, GDPR. We look at that from the US, and then other ones in UK. We'll cover as much as we can cover. And then we will look at the types of data threats, and then how do we protect ourselves. If there is opportunity, we look at advanced threats and protection, and then how to respond to them and manage them appropriately within organizations. So these are things that we'll be doing. Um, how is the exam going to be? Sometimes I give them a take-home exam. Sometimes you do about two quizzes, open quizzes in class, and then later on you go write a take-home exam. But I'm still thinking maybe this time I may give you a bunch of online exams, MCQ with short essays, and you just fill it, complete it at your pace. Maybe I'm just thinking, but it depends on how the class engages me and it becomes very lively. Okay, so that is it. Entity, randomly, can I get three or four people to introduce themselves, who they are, and where they work, so that it gives me some context in the class? I can't do the whole class, but I can get a few of them. So without any particular order, I'll start with entity. You mention your name. If you are working, mention where you work, and maybe something interesting about you. Okay, so my name is Richard Boateng. I am a researcher and a professor in the University of Ghana. I produce music. That's what is interesting. So if you go to you if you go to Spotify, you look for Suje, SUSE, and then space J. You see one of my artists called Suje. She is an English French rapper. And if you look for Believable Hope, that's my main group I work with. You can find them. Believable Hope is on iTunes, Apple Music. It's on um, YouTube and Facebook, and then it's also on um, Spotify. So I write and produce music. Yes, but it's not for the Ghanaian, or should I say, entertainment sector. It's more for a foreign type of clientele. Okay, so that is what is funny about me. Entity, you can take it up.
Okay. So my
So
name is Ernestina Asamoah.
when you finish, then you call anybody that you want to continue.
Okay. All right. I'm also I manage my dad's firm in the Eastern region. So it's into rice production. So we harvest the rice and then we mill it and then we get the local rice. So that's what I manage at the moment. And something interesting about me. I'm a lady pastor in my church.
Okay.
So I nominate Charlotte Nicole.
Nicole has been silent for some time. I don't think she's active to.
Okay. Then I nominate Mamaga.
You nominate who?
Hello.
Mamaga, yeah, she's here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, dog. My name is Mercy Eduwoji Yao. I'm currently in the house. I'm not working right now. And what's funny about me? I like to sing and dance.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You nominate who?
Let me look
Don't
through.
nominate a female. Mhm.
Of course not. Looking through, looking through. I nominate Marcus Perry Agbolosu. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Perry. I'm a national service personnel at National Children's Removal Library Airport. And the one thing that you people don't know about me is that I'm a chorister at the Methodist Church. Yes, and that's it.
We are getting a lot of people who are into ministry work. Interesting. Okay, and music people. Okay. Who are you nominating? The last person. Mhm.
Nanaya,
Okay, Nanaya, you have you have got a missed call. Nanaya.
Good evening, everyone.
Mhm.
My name is Nana Ayopua Amwa. I work at Pamas Pharmaceutical Company. One funny thing about me, there's nothing funny about me. There's nothing surprising about me. So that's
Nanaya, are you married?
please no.
That's why there's nothing funny about you. Okay. So Nanaya is not married. The boys who are not married here, she is available for laughter. Okay. Thank you very much. I nominate the last person, Ebenezer Fosu. Fosu.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, so my name is Ebenezer Fosu Asante,
Mhm.
and at the moment I'm not working.
Mhm.
And funny enough, I'm also an instrumentalist,
Hey,
a drummer.
yeah, today
Yes.
I'm in trouble. I'm going to take 20 music people in my class.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
So
that is,
that's the funny thing.
people are going to listen to my music and tell me, Prof, your, your C sharp is
I,
not correct. Your beats are
I've actually written the names you gave down. I'll go and check it out.
okay. So you can check Believe or Hope. You can check um SUJ,
SUG.
SUSE and then J.
Yeah, I've noted it.
If you have time to, you can check, I think, flavors of fire. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so without much ado, I'm going to keep the class very lively. So as much as possible, if you don't understand something, let me know. And let's try and pay attention as we go. What I'm trying to do in the first few, this is to show you the slide and show you the chapter in the book that the slide is coming from at the beginning, so that later if I switch to the slide or if I switch to the book, you don't think I'm confusing you. So we are looking into today is the first session, and I'm going to try and discuss this topics. Data is the new oil, common threats to data security, why protection matters, what is data security and privacy, and untangling terminologies. In fact, that's what we are trying to do today. Okay, so if you look at it, it's just a similar thing that material here and the material here are not too much different. One is slide, one is a text. The text has more examples. Okay, so I think doing the introduction or the orientation with you, Dr. Hinasari mentioned that data is a new oil. I remember, who remembers he mentioned it? If it's not him, I think you have heard it in class since you started classes. Yes, Benjamin Mwaku, good. I remember he said it. And I think one of the reasons why he said it was because of the fact that he was trying to emphasize that quite a lot of people are competing based on data. And I know most of you know that data is what is making oil prices go up. As soon as one news comes up, somebody increases price or changes, market dynamics changes. So sometimes data then being shared as information becomes what kind of drives companies. Companies are trading based on data. If somebody wants to invest in your company, it says that show me your sales data, show me your forecast data, show me where your money will be coming from. That is, and the money is not cash is looking, fiscal cash is looking for. He's looking for inflow. The influence is just data he's looking for. So if your data is in the wrong hands, somebody can use it against your organization. If it's also in the right hands and the person has the appropriate strategy, can be able to use to leverage it to be able to change the organization. So it informs our decisions. It actually plays a key role or even starting new companies. There are companies that are built just around the sharing of data and the management of data. Yeah. Now, before anybody can leverage oil as an organization, even a country, you have to drill the oil, you have to refine it and make it get value. Sometimes some will export it to a different country. The same way, throughout the course, we are learning the principles and the strategies and the rubrics for be able to manage data by processing it, analyzing it, and sometimes protecting it and then showcasing it or communicating it in a way that others will understand. So what you are doing through this whole program is to not just the access program, but business analytics is to be able to take business data, analyze it, and turn it into some value for the organization to inform decision making and then future behavior within the organization within markets. So the ability for you to be able to do this well creates a great strength for you. Create a great strength for you. It is great strength for you. Now, if you look at it, I don't want to get into what is the new oil in your company because most of you know that already. We have talked about it. I think some lectures we have talked about it. I want us to look at more of some of the common threats that we may find with how data is seen or viewed. I want us to look at this case study. So I'll zoom in a little bit into the case study and then we'll look at it together. So I believe you can you see it very well? Overview of common threats to data security. So every organization is more concerned about securing the data they have. So we look at this scenario. Imagine Jane, an executive at a renowned pharmaceutical company. She's working on a groundbreaking drug formula. If a competitor or hacker access this confidential data, the company's edge in the market could be compromised. Moreover, all the years of research, the millions they have invested in this could go waste. So that means that data in the wrong hands may not be, it can be a very great threat to them. But what are some of the things that actually causes this stress, causes this loss to happen? There are different types of attacks that we are seeing of late. There are what we call the phishing attacks. Sometimes employees often receive deceptive emails trying to trick them to providing sensitive data. For example, in 2019, some people working in Facebook and Google were tricked into transferring $100 million into a fraudulent account due to somebody's well-crafted phishing scheme. And the person spent some time sharing information to them to convince them that he was a legitimate supplier or for them. And they thought that yes, he was a legitimate supplier. By crafting certain fake information and showcasing to them, they believed the person. And when the person put a bill there, they were willing to pay 100 million to that person, but the person was not, it was nothing close to truth. It was later that they found out that both companies had been duped. So the big companies themselves, with a person can socially engineer them. When you say socially engineer, they appear as the real person or appear as somebody who they can believe and they can trust. And at the end of the day, they may part away with something valuable to such a person. Then you also have what we call ransomware. Ransomware involves hackers locking out users from their data and demanding ransom to release it. For example, somebody hijacks a hospital patient records and then delaying treatments and putting everybody's life at risk and saying that until you pay something, they are not going to release it. Or somebody can threaten that I'm going to release this information in the information media or on the internet, and if you don't pay me this amount of money, it's going to be there. It's going to go out there. Quite a number of times, even in Africa, here we have seen religious and charity institutions, their websites being taken over, or their Facebook page being taken over by scrupulous web assailants. What they do is that they hijack your page. They may put untoward material that your own customers and your own partners may not want to see on your page, on that page, and then they take it over that unless you come and pay $7,000 or £7,000, maybe through cryptocurrency, they will not really release it to you. And sometimes you're not even sure whether they will even release it to you. They can still take their money and then run away and leave the page with all those information there that is not, you don't want them to misrepresent you. They may just leave it there and then run away. Then we also got data breaches. There was one peculiar case that happened some time ago in 2017, which was documented later by Huddleston, and in which he talked about what we call the Equifax should I say credit reporting, that credit reporting agency. They went through a base scam where somebody took over their page, took over their system, and at the end of the day, they lost that much money. We'll look at that case study as we go on. First of all, let me just talk about the Facebook one and into details. So, in March 2019, Process swindled 100 million from tech giants Facebook and Google through a unique method by simply requesting it via email. Will you believe it? Simply requesting it via email. That's what they did. So this is what the story. So last week, Valdas, age 50, admitted to committing wire fraud. He played a part in crafting a deception that involved creating a counterfeit company and sending deceptive emails to employees of two tech companies between 2013 and 2015. This strategy tricked the companies into parting away with a collective sum of 100 million. I was asking myself that, so nobody actually double checked before they paid, exceeding $100 million as reported by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Details of the deception. In 2016, the prosecutors charged the same guy. It's called Elvadas Remasakus. Hey, this name is interesting. For forming a company that imitated another firm, Quanta Computer, based in Taiwan, sorry. So what he did is that he formed a company to look like another company. I think you are familiar with the kind of crime taking place even in Africa. A legitimate business partner for both Facebook and Google. So this Valdas was the sole decision maker in the imitation company and managed several bank accounts in Latvia and Cyprus under the sham company's name. The fraud involved Ramasakos and partners sending a deceptive emails, appearing as if they originated from a genuine Quanta personal email. These misleading emails carry fabricated invoices. So they actually invoice the company, Facebook and Google. And maybe some of you may be surprised as you are sitting here, because you're wonder, are these big companies that even if you are on their page, they can say that they can ban you and prevent you from using their social media pages. They fell prey to this, yes, because they are individuals, typical human beings also working in these companies, and they are also can be duped. Consequently, the staff members ended up transferring over 100 million to the bank accounts of the fund, not at one time. It's over time. That's so those of you who are worried are concerned. It's at least over time. Over 100 million to the bank accounts of the fraudulent entity. Furthermore, the massacres manipulated a series of counterfeit documents like contracts, invoices, letters, making them seem as though top executives from the victimized companies had signed them. To dodge banking security, the fraudsters even went to the extent of generating bogus documentation for the transfers and incorporating counterfeit seals of the companies. Interesting. In response to the scam, Google confirmed its prompt detection of the fraud and subsequent notification of authorities. Google managed to reclaim the lost funds. Similarly, Facebook retrieved most of its lost money, but they lost some after the event and has been aiding law enforcement agencies. Quanta hasn't issued any comment on the matter yet. Quanta didn't do anything. Yeah, they are sitting somewhere. Somebody is using their name to collect money from Google, and then what's the name? Google and then Facebook. Now, before we go on, let me just ask maybe a few of you can just share your views. What do you think can be learned from this phishing scam that took place? What do you think can be learned? Just, I'm not saying you are a guru of this course, but in a nutshell, you are read this, you are a business analyst taking this course. You are now started after a few days of this taking a class from Monday. You have heard a little bit. So, what do you think? On your view, what do you think happened, or what do you think can be learned from this? Yeah, please, you can raise your hand if you want to answer or share your view. I always advise that lecturers take notice of those who share things in class. It helps. So those of you want to do very well. Yes, what do you think happened? Or what do you think can be learned from here? Yes. Okay, Beneza. Hey, my friend Beneza again. Okay, Beneza, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think if it was a phishing scam, then that means it came through emails. So probably the workers in Google and what's that one, Facebook um, should kind of confirm from fellow employees when they receive emails they might suspect to come from an unknown or a fraudulent personality. That's the little I can
Good.
share.
What you have said has actually drawn my attention to something that we do in the university. So, for example, when we sign a contract with an international organization on research funds, they write in the contract the mode of request of submission of invoice and which email to come from the university. Or maybe I had one from University of California. So they said this office of finance using this email under this personality, like the person's name, is the only one who you can send invoice to. Not even the partners you are working there, not even the vice chancellor, this person. And this is the only person who can confirm whether the money has been sent to you or not been sent to you. If you are sending receipts, send it to the same person. So they state it in the contract. And from what you are just telling me, I'm also wondering whether in the contractual agreement with Quanta, didn't they define who will be the contact person for sending and receiving emails? Unless if others was that smart to have known which contact person it is, because that's what brings the question. So you have said a very good point. You have raised a very good point. Yes, I saw some two hands up. Yes, I saw some two hands up. Yeah. No, yeah, yes, you can go ahead.
I also noticed when you were speaking, the Google and Facebook had done business with Quanta before, if I'm correct.
Yes. They are continuous. They have a continuous partnership with them or arrangement with them. Yeah.
Okay, so that means this won't be the first time they had done business. So they should have found something weird or wrong about just one person sending them an email to do business.
Yes. But according
And
to
it feels like it would have been an inside job too, because one person couldn't have come up with a perfect way to fraud them for that long, especially with that huge amount.
okay, so what they said is that they manipulated a series of counterfeit documents like contracts, invoices. So what you're trying to say that how did he have access to sample contracts, invoices? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
yeah. Yes, Joanna Norton.
Hello, Prof. Thank you for the opportunity. So
Yeah.
I think from my end, the issue that Nanaya just raised up, it's something that we could actually like poke into, because it means that for Facebook and Google to have been misled by Quanta, it means that they should have had a substantial relationship with them. So one of the things we can learn is that sometimes at the beginning stages, in terms of compliance and regulations, people are most inclined to be more strict and rigorous on them. But then over time, because of the trust that has being established between both parties, it could be that they decide to overlook some of the usual proceedings that they would have taken just because of familiarity that they have between the two companies. So I think that's something that we could also learn, that regardless of this relationship that has been established by both companies, regulations and steps that needs to be taken to be able to ensure that no one gets frauded should actually be still implemented. So that's my take on that. Thank you.
Yeah, actually true. I think I remember last week something was being discussed on CTFM. They said that trust does not mean that you don't verify. So you have to verify, even though you trust. So trust, even though you trust, you should still verify. That's the only way you can protect yourself. Because I understand what you're saying. Can you imagine that every Christmas, Quanta brings you Christmas basket? Just after you stop checking, they are so happy with content that let me do the work well, so that this Christmas I'll get my basket. Anyway, yeah, familiarity breeds contempt and it breeds certain errors. Yes, Benjamin Amarco. Yeah.
So, what I also want to add, because first I want to add up to what one of our people spoke on, the fact that we should have an established contact in engaging with the supplier so that we know that these emails will be coming from this particular person. There was a recent issue with Nestle where there was an arrangement with a vendor where they knew that this is the person who's supposed to give me an approval, and with the new introduction of AI and deep imaging, the person was able to replicate the person's image and even had a WhatsApp call with the person to give the person room to approve. So it was later that the person was verifying, had to call again, call a different number to confirm whether this exactly is from you or is from a different, before they were able to recognize that it is not actually the person speaking through the WhatsApp phone, but it's actually an AI version of it. So we also need to also aside the complacency in the verification, we also need to know that there is more introduction with technology, so we need to be more detailed in that. And what I want to actually add is the fact that I think for Google, for instance, there were no much simulations as to possible risks of somebody being phishing. And I think what we can learn from it is that for recent companies, they can have more simulations on phishing sites so that the employees are oriented or pre-oriented of what it is like to see whether an email is cyber or not. So once we have that, it creates room or that environment where employees become more conscious about every email, because we often have simulations of that, and it creates that awareness about phishing issues in the company. So that's what I also wanted to add.
What you're saying is true, but I will say that we should remember that this happened between 2013 to 2015. A time of the world that a
Okay.
lot of these things were picking up, and some companies were less stringent and maybe careful than us. What they have been, how proactive they are now to cybercrime. By that time, anybody could actually do something to could actually deceive you that much. And I also should say that the possibility of the guy spreading the invoices gradually over time. Every month he sends maybe $5,000, maybe 20,000. So it might not be one big invoice that came for you to alert attention. For example, let's say that I think some of you know about these offices where people have got operational budgets. They can be able to approve up to a limit. So let's say you are able to approve. I know you are able to approve only 100,000. I will just keep my invoices around 65. You and then spread them with time. By the time we realize you would have paid me 600,000 after I give you 10 invoices. I hope you understand me. And because and you are the person who is not checking, so you just within your budget limit or your responsibility limit, so you're actually just issuing payment, pay, without doing the double check. The person could have done that, maybe finding somebody who is the weakest link and using that person to be able to get the money from them. Michael, I saw your hand up. Were you trying to add something before I move on?
Yes, sir. So I think this when data literacy actually comes in. So I think they were a bit complacent because they had the data from the company, but they didn't really analyze what was the name. They didn't analyze the data. That's why they were complacent. If they did a thorough analysis of what the business they were going into, I'm sure they would have seen some one or two mistakes or something that's going to give up the company. So I'm just saying they were actually very complacent because they didn't really take the analyst part of data very serious.
But the problem is that even if you want to take the analyst part, right, if the thing is counterfeiting of actual documents, contracts, invoice letters, making them seem as top executives. So he makes it look like the vice chancellor or the head of sales has signed it, and the signature looks the same. Because sometimes some of the companies, their signatures are even public information. Then by the time we realize it can happen that way, that somebody can deceive maybe. What will surprise you is that he may even take the letter and show it up at maybe another branch. I hope you understand. Maybe a Google branch, maybe Latvia, whilst he had and he's collecting the money from that place. So, and he shows that maybe Google executive from the US has approved it. And by the time you go through confirmation and go through all those kind of stuff, by the time you realize you have even paid because it's within what you are required to pay within you the Google head at Latvia. So it could happen that way. It has happened even in Ghana and many different where people are able to pick one bank, pick a checkbook from here, cash it, and then find a way of going to another bank to go and cash it. People even do it with hospital doctor's prescription where they keep moving between different pharmacies collecting the same medicine. Yeah, so it happens. It happens. Benjamin, we would like to go for it, but you can just lastly add one line to it. What do you want to say?
I was wondering, and so is it that, for instance, there are other softwares where, for instance, Facebook, where you need to put in some key. This one is it that they were able to pick data from those sites to manipulate? Because I was wondering whether they won't be able to hack into Google's account that easily. So is it that those people they simulated, they pick their details from other sites where probably their personal details are on that place?
Yes. Okay. So it's possible that that's happened. And remember, for example, don't you know the vice chancellor's name of UG? You know. And then we like putting disclaimers on the internet with our unsigned or signed. Haven't you seen one from the registrar on the internet before? UG is not reopening on this. They signed this thing. They even share it on social media announcements. Sometimes you may even see your recent admission letter. Didn't you see that there was a signature below it? Now, somebody can pick that document, remove the content of the admission, and put it there, or go give somebody admission somewhere and sell the admission to the person. That's what I'm just trying to say, that sometimes in our bit of trying to be customer friendly and giving service to people, we also open ourselves. For example, I work with one MD that his signature that will make payments. Only a few of the organization members of the organization will know it. But he has another signature that if you see him use it, you know that this is a public document that he signed or he didn't sign it. And only a few of us knew. And people thought that that is his real signature. Anytime we saw it somewhere, we know that this is not his real signature because if he's going to move money, he doesn't use that signature. So he uses that signature for a lot of open documents and documents to hype for confirming your employment and everything. But his actual signature that's on accounts to move money, make payments between the US and Ghana is a different type of signature. And only a few of us in the organization knew it. So sometimes I think you have to also be proactive to know that there are people who are looking for opportunities to represent you in a different way. So I'll pick your information and misrepresent you with that information. So you have to. I was in the time I was working in the US, I was in the US when American embassy in UK, Nigeria contacted me that somebody is sitting in front of them with an invitation letter that I've invited him to come to the US to come to the center. And I was associate director of the center. Later on, I found out of somebody who was close to us who had come to do some work and stuff, and we gave him a letter. And what he had done is that he had also helping the brothers. He removed our content and he was used to give other people, other friends, letters of invitation in Nigeria. So the signature was legitimate. The letterhead was legitimate. The only part of the person who is being invited was a different person. And the guy, first the guy said he didn't do it. Later, when he came to, when we were able to track, and they gave us, we asked for a copy of the letter. When they gave us the copy, we knew the signature, we knew who we had sent the letter to the very first time in Nigeria. So we confronted him again that we have the letter here. He said, "Oh, the brothers wanted to travel, and he said you should help them." So he has been helping people. Help, and the way the person will answer it, you too, is very, this idea. Oh, I'm helping my brother to travel. I'm helping my this to travel. It was very confusing to how to react to it. So these things happen a lot anyway. So what lessons can we learn from here? First of all, vigilance in financial transactions. Every tech giant, even tech giants, aren't immune to sophisticated phishing scam. All businesses, regardless of their size, need to ensure that their financial department are vigilant. Somebody said it. And follow rigorous procedures. Somebody is entertaining somebody else. If you are those phone, if you have those iPhone, yes, we know you have an iPhone. So please, we who are using M1 and all these other phones, we know Techno and other things. We don't want to talk politics. So please hide your iPhone and your quietness. Okay. Email, I'm coming.
Sorry, guys, I didn't know my cousin muted. Sorry, guys.
But you're supposed to be listening to me. You're listening to somebody and inviting a person.
I'm actually listening to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so email verification. The scam rely heavily on forged emails that appear to come from trusted business partner. Companies need to implement robust email security systems that can detect and flag, somebody said this one too, suspicious emails, even if they seem to come from known contacts. Okay. Training and awareness. Another person said it, this one, I think it was Benjamin or yeah, said regular training sessions should be conducted for employees, especially those handling sensitive information or financial transactions to identify phishing attempts. Two-factor authentication, which is very important. Two-factor authentication is when we send something like a notification to you for you to confirm that it's you. Like just like as your mobile Momo does with you. They send you a code and you enter it into the app before you initiate the payment or approve the payment. So that or access a service. So had there been a two-factor authentication process in place for large transactions, this is my problem. Large transactions mean that the person could have also realized that everything above $200,000 will call for this. So I will keep my own around $100,000 and still you take the money. So I think that we should now. What I like about Momo, even if you are paying 10 cities, it will still ask for the not just the PIN. If you are using the app, it will still ask for the two-factor authentication process. Yeah, routine orders. Companies should conduct routine orders. Go 2013 to 2015. Maybe you trusted Quanta so much that, or unless the guy's fraudulent document was also going alongside the good ones. So today you pay a good one, tomorrow, next week, the one you paid is a fraudulent one. So sometimes you are getting a lot of invoices from Quanta that the bad ones are mixed with the good ones. So you can't actually identify. And they are all going through. That's why one person was saying that it could be that there was an insider who was allowing and maybe making sure these payments go through. And after maybe he knew that it was working in Google, he told the child, try Facebook to work. Okay, swift action is crucial. Both Google and Facebook were able to recover significant portions of their lost funds, partly because they detected a fraud relatively quickly. Hey, are you sure relatively quickly? 2013 to 2015, it's a lot of Ghana 2 years. Mhm. Immediate action and cooperation with law enforcement agencies can increase chances of recovery. Okay. Building strong partnership relationship with financial institutions is important. Documentation scrutiny, somebody mentioned it here. being meticulous in scrutinizing the document to be able to show that there's no fake signature, falsified details appearing as authentic. Be skeptical. Okay, sometimes you have to have a skeptic as at the head of finance, so that before he signs everything, he double checks, and he's why do we keep on paying this Quanta a lot? May I believe that they had a very good relation with Quanta. So no, Quanta was also known is also known in the space so much that people would not think that Quanta would do that to them. Anyway, Marcus, Perry, I've seen your hand up a number of times. Please, you can go ahead.
Hello, sir. Please, I think the reason that we are finding difficulty in identifying how they were able to do it is because we do not know the function of the responsibilities of Quanta. Quanta, so I searched from the web and I realized that Quanta sells hardware to both Facebook and Google, right? So it means that one, a company trying to imitate another a person trying to imitate another company can easily sell something to another person because they have that kind of trust or
Yes.
knowing that so it was just that equipment that was supposed to be purchased was actually never there in the first place. So that was how easy the thing was.
So
So it's not about
they,
be a hack or maybe finding a software to hack something. Or I don't think that might be the problem.
okay, but partly what you are saying is true. But partly for the person to have done that, this person was also mimicking existing contracts and making sure that they look like they are being signed by the senior management of Google and Facebook. Do you understand what I'm trying?
Yes.
So it could be that I'm just using my own understanding here. That it could be that we buy maybe servers from them. We buy three every time. Then you also bring maybe server pitches for another division, and then make it like seven, and then they approve it, or you deliver three, and then another invoice comes out for another three has been delivered. In a sense that what the signature looks genuine, you go ahead to pay. But I don't know whether you've even heard about in Ghana, people getting paid for the job they are not even done.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
So if Facebook is going through it and Ghana is going through it, it's about how they are able to get an individual to believe. And as soon as I think one went through and they knew that that particular person was allowing and approving it, they started milking that particular weak link. So
Yes.
sometimes you have to just they may have tried a number of one and one went through, and as it goes through, and that's how cyber criminals work. They try a number of them. If one goes through, then they start using that one as the main approach or weakest link to get into the organization. Okay. So this is just for your thinking. Now I'll read number one. In an era where business is increasingly conducted electronically and at scale, how can companies establish and maintain digital trust, especially when dealing with high-value transactions? Considering the Facebook and Google incident, discuss the potential long-term impacts on their business relationship and brand trust. Okay, so they said that Quanta didn't give any didn't have not given any response to the issue. It could be that Quanta itself was really surprised that after working with us for some time, you couldn't tell that this was not us, but was somebody else who was doing it. Maybe Quanta itself now started thinking about how is the means that the person bought our letterhead, everything there, and they will have to rethink of how they do business with Facebook and Google, and what will be the means of authenticating such documentation. So sometimes I think like this can happen, and the owner of Facebook can say that I don't work with Quanta anymore, even though Quanta never did anything. But they could, instead of accepting that maybe the fault came from the error came from an internal breach or process or of due diligence, they would rather put the blame on Quanta and then walk away from Quanta and then find somebody else to work with. It could be. But the impact could actually be disastrous. Even me, if I am a company like let's say American Online, and I also deal with companies like Quanta, because of what has happened, some of them will start double checking all Quanta invoices. Is that not true? You want to be sure that somebody else has not used Quanta's invoice to deceive you. As soon as the information come out, I'll do that. Everybody will double check it. We would like to know whether Quanta has not deceived you in any way. And those who are currently Google and Facebook, you also want to check whether you can also use it against. You can also put a fake one and check them, because it seems like they couldn't even see Quanta. Then your own, maybe they cannot see it too. It's a quite an interesting case, and there's a lot to learn from it. Okay, now let's move on then. Okay, so let's look at the Equifax attack. Then we can move on. Equifax in March. Let me get somebody to read. I've read one. Let me see somebody. Is Daniela available to read, or Doreen? Or
Please, I'm here. Daniela.
okay, Daniela. So start reading the first slide here.
Okay. Equifax case study. Initiation of the crisis. In March 2017, a weakness labeled CVE 2017-5638 was identified in Apache Struts as an open source tool for crafting Java applications used by Equifax and numerous other sites. This flaw allowed attackers to manipulate Struts via malevolent HTTP requests, compromising the systems it operated on. Apache Software Foundation introduced a fix on March 7. 2 days later, Equifax staff were directed to implement the fix, but the task was overlooked. Despite attempts to detect such vulnerabilities on March 15th, the systems remained unaddressed. That month, Equifax, alarmed by illegal use of stolen social security numbers to access their sites, brought in Mandiant, a security consultant firm. Although Mandiant highlighted several security issues, disagreements arose within weeks. Who orchestrated the Equifax attack? Following the disclosure of the Equifax breach, cybersecurity professionals monitored the dark web for data linked to this event. However, no data surfaced. This led to the belief that Chinese government-backed hackers focused on espionage rather than theft were behind the breach. Equifax breach statistics. Attackers roamed Equifax networks undetected for 76 days. Potential data breach affected 143 million consumers. Maximum compensation for affected users, $125. Equifax's expenditure on security post-incident, $1.4 billion. And no identified fraud or identity theft cases tied to this incident.
So what can be learned? What lessons can we learn from the Equifax case? Let me get three people to share what they can draw from this one too. Yes. Yes. What lessons can we learn? Jennifer, are you trying to say something? Yeah. Daniela, thank you very much. Okay. What lessons can be taken from here? Hey, all of your hands are down. Eric Osei, won't you talk Gideon Apia? You're letting the ladies talk. Mhm. Kevin Kojo. What lessons can we take from here, class? Hello?
I think I want us to read over that
Okay,
again because we are trying to.
okay. You want to read over? Okay, I'm coming. So sorry, this is it. Okay. So what lessons can we draw? Me, I can see that it's quite interesting that Equifax sat down and they couldn't identify that somebody was on their network, actually roaming their network for 76 days. You couldn't even recognize it. That means that you are being vulnerable for that much of time. And those of you who don't understand it, what happened was that Equifax was using an open source application. Open source means that the software is placed on the internet, anybody can download it and install it. But that open source application had a flaw, and that flaw there have been the ones who developed the Apache Foundation, who actually maintained that particular open source application, had advised people to update the application because of the flaw they are seeing in it. And I think they didn't do that because they overlooked it. You are going to take something free from the internet, you maintain it. And if you take it something free, that means that the hacker also has it. So when the hacker is trying to attack your machine, knows that you have not updated it, he can then exploit your data or exploit your system and get into it and do whatever he wants to do. That is what somewhat occurred. Yeah. But what can we learn from it? Yes. Or what can you learn from it? What have you learned from it? Yes, Adam, go ahead.
I think there was negligence on the part of the employees of Equifax,
Correct.
especially when Apache informed them that there is a fix and that needs to be deployed. Again, I still think they were a little bit slow compared to their response time was a bit slow because when they brought in Mandiant software to also help, after they have realized that their system has been attacked, they were quite back and forth, which even exposed them more. So
Yeah.
at the end, that's accumulated for 76 days being exposed. If they should have responded earlier, probably the effect will not be as big as we are seeing now and losing about $1.4 billion. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. Amaku.
Yeah, what I want to add is that I think we also need to keep our security update on point. We need to be very regular about our security update. And for me personally, I think earlier on, normally I didn't like updating my items because I feel that when I update it, I may not be able to use it as I want to use it, or there are some features that I may lose because of those updates. So getting to know this, that it gives me a quick overview of how security updates are very important. And when there is a need for an update, we need to be quick to do those things. Yes.
Well said. Well said. Well said. Okay, so prioritize fundamentals. No system is foolproof. It occurred because there was lapse in addressing a known flaw, and that's one thing that you just mentioned. Yeah. They overlooked the fact that they had to update their platform and their defenses were inadequate and the unexpected happened. Limit access within systems. It looked like as soon as the hackers entered the system, they were able to move freely through their infrastructure. That means that they were not having barriers and gatekeepers within different systems. So sometimes we call something network compartmentalization. For example, you can enter into a hotel, but not every room that you can enter. Even sometimes not every floor you can enter. So that you can block, you can give you access only. So if you don't have access to floor 3, you will never be able to go to floor 3 unless somebody has access there. But what had happened is that when they entered into the system or the organization's infrastructure, they were able to roam about freely. That means that the gatekeepers or the passwords were there were weak, or it could also be that they were not when it was not well guarded through any type of authentication. So others could just go through and pick a new information that they wanted to pick. So we want to make sure in future, in building systems, you can do compartmentalization where you give access to only who has to have access to. And then you can also you have different layers of access based on the structure of the organization or people's work or what they need to know. Yeah. Okay. And then what else? Access should be granted strictly based on necessity. Broad access poses risk, even for the the MD. You realize that some of the banks, in fact, not most of the banks, the main SIG or the access to that one is held by maybe 3 people. One of them is biometric, one of them is a fiscal key, and one maybe even a password. So one person has a password which is in his mind, another person has a fiscal key, another person has maybe a biometric, but it means that either the fingerprint or the eye or something like irises or pick it up. And then in some organizations, even in the banks, in picking up your ID, your ATM card. I don't know whether I've seen that. The one person will issue the card, you sign for it, then you go to another person for the PIN, which has the card, a piece of paper which has the PIN in it. And now some institutions have even stopped giving you the PIN. They give you instructions for you to go to the ATM and then use and create your own PIN for the first time. Why are they doing that? They are also trying to spread the risk, and they are also trying to make sure that they grant access based on necessity. Okay, good. So in the past, the question that I've asked people in the examination is just concern the Equifax case. So if you want to know it, you can take a picture of it. But I'll be giving you the slides. Describe the implication of broad access rights within organization internal systems. How can companies effectively implement a need-to-know basis access without hampering operational efficiency? So these are some of the things that we'll be discussing in future sessions as we go on. So why is protecting our information important? Now, the reason is that many organizations are kind of leaning on the digital platforms. They have built their whole capacity and their data on digital platforms. And that digital platform is now having their information in the cloud. So if there's a breach, that means that they may not even have access to their information, and their information may be open to somebody to be able to steal it. So now everybody's kind of thinking about how do I secure? Some of them don't have much budgets. They may write to subscribe to build their own server and have their own local systems, even in this country. They rather buy of the pay as a service. They'll pay for a service that somebody hosts the data online for them, and they buy a template, or the template is put over the data, and then they can use it. So if it's a website, they may build the website in such a way the data is abroad, and they have kind of a shell that actually pulls the data for them to use it. So quite a number of companies are thinking about are doing same now. Sometimes the reason is that there's unforeseen issues in the country, and redundancies. Things can go down, and then you cannot be able to provide a similar service to your customers. For example, University of Ghana, where we're initially hosting almost all our data, our websites and everything in Ghana here, and locally, and then realize that look, we are having problems. People are booking for beds. I don't know whether you have been gone through that before. You have witnessed your brother or sister going through it. There are about 1,000 beds for about 14,000 people to book, or let's say about 14,000 people to book. Can you imagine that as soon as you open it, the thing gets full? Because if everybody is able to open their page and then book, by the time you realize, you cannot be able to have it. Now, I also got to know that people knowing that this 1,000 beds for about 14,000 applicants, what they then started thinking about doing was that they'll come to campus, and then they'll connect to the Wi-Fi, which is at the closer to our University of Ghana computing system, or now called the Information Technology Directorate. So that if I connect to a Wi-Fi on campus, as soon as it goes live, I can book and then I can have the room. They came and they booked and they realized that by the time they finished booking, they said the rooms are finished. Until I did some small investigation, I realized that the thing is hosted is in the service to prevent us from having um 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 denial of service attack where everybody's trying to open the page and then the page never opens. We needed to put on a more secure and server which has much more bandwidth to you to handle the pressure of the number of people requesting for information at the time. So to the best of my knowledge, at that time, our data was now stored in Amazon. So what we allegedly realized, I don't want somebody to go and quote me somebody, that's what I allegedly realized, is that by the time you book in Ghana, somebody in the US has booked and he got in the room already because of the speed of the internet there and you being closer to the Amazon server. That is allegedly. I don't know whether you understand me. So whilst you are opening the page, the person has opened the page, choosing 3 rooms or something like that. Whilst you are here, by the time the room loads on your machine, the guy has finished booking. So if about 100 people are booking for them, and they are all booking for 1 room or 2 rooms for them, that means that by the time you say Jack, somebody's 200 rooms are gone. Whilst you are struggling to get the other 800 rooms for you yourself in Ghana. I'm just saying it allegedly, but that's what I the experiences I got to hear about. I don't know how true it is, but interestingly, if somebody's closer to to the server and he's actually booking and he has a better bandwidth and a better internet access, he may end up having booked faster than you, and then get he may have his access have access to the page and then be able to book for his room or his a hostel room that he's looking for. Anyway, the companies are moved to the web and to the cloud, and they are cloud reliance. They are reliant. They are relying on the cloud. About 61% of them. Quite a number of them have also deployed global applications that are accessible to people across the world, even Amazon's website across the world. So when you have this thing, it doesn't matter whether one part of the world is asleep or not. Your website has to be up 24/7. And how can you do that? You need to be able to invest into data platforms and data platforms that can be able to help you host that data and even analyze it in real time. Okay. Now, there are also financial incentives for why people become concerned about managing their data very well. Now, if people have unauthorized access to your data, it could lead to a loss of trade secrets, intellectual property that can jeopardize your company, and you will lose money. You lose a lot of money, and sometimes consumers will not like to work with you. If you're a hospital and people realize that their hospital information is now public information and they are online, and others are using it to sell and get more likes or get more trending news, you may not want to go to that hospital again. So there are financial incentives for compliance. If you comply, the long term it will go well for you and it will make you much more competitive. Okay. Yeah, quite a number of them, a number of organizations are also struggling because the data breaches are happening in real time. They are being attacked left and right. And we even in University of Ghana, we get a lot of people trying to hack our websites, even emails. People trying to get into our emails. Why? Because grades. People want to hack into our university enterprise platform and change people's grades. It's happening all the time. And then and so because of that, they kind of remind us to change our passwords quite often. Yeah. Employees sign up for cloud applications and service without approval and governance of our IT department. That's also happening. Quite a number of people go online, create pages, and then use it for their personal personal engagement or personal communication, but they are using the company email address to have created the page, which is wrong. Because when you create a Facebook page or an X page using your company email, what you are creating it more becomes like an institutional page, but you are using it for your private discussion. And none of them are doing that without even the IT department getting to know. Unless they start reading the people's emails, then they realize some of the informations are where some of the informations are coming from. Either somebody is actually using it on Twitter to just for discussions, and in those kind of discussions coming to the office email. You don't want that, because it can open you up for so many lawsuits that you are not, because it can even lead to mistrust by your employees, your customers. Somebody goes to a page, he sees somebody has created a page, and it is an official page of the organization, start engaging with you, and realize that this somebody is just having his own chat here and he's discussing things. And by the time you are discussing things, are you discussing it in the name of the organization or somebody's, in the name of your personal capacity? So being able to make sure that we have got the appropriate policies to be able to prevent such from happening is important. Okay, trusting employees to follow organization data usage policies. You can't trust organization and police to follow verbatim. They may breach, they may not do some things well. So you have to even put in certain softwares to be able to do the monitoring, and software to prevent them from breaching or doing what is untoward with company resources. Okay. Then some of them are also struggling to know when the data has been stolen or has been accessed by their server has been accessed by stolen credentials. This things can also happen. Now, aligning regulatory compliance requirements with my organization's cloud strategy is also another issue. Ghana, for example, we have got the our national data protection act that you're supposed to follow if you're collecting data from any type of person. You have to know what is in that to be able to follow it religiously, so that at the end of the day, nothing, you will not breach it. Because if you breach it and you are not compliant, you don't register with the Data Protection Commission, they can sue you. If you go online like this, you can see news articles that point out that Data Protection Commission goes around checking those who are compliant and those who are not compliant, and they are actually collecting data from people, and they are not registered with the Data Protection Council, and they are not even put their compliance plan and strategies with them. They are not communicated such with them. They may end up suing you. There are companies that may have been shut down from collecting consumer data because of that. Yeah. So we have these challenges that are coming, and some organizations they started as maybe a one-man company and has grown to be a very big, prestigious company, but they didn't know. They didn't even know. Some people don't know that they are supposed to even register. They are a mom and pop shop selling provisions, and they start getting a POS there, and they start collecting people's card to process the POS, and they start even putting customer information into a small online maybe Excel sheet. You are collecting consumer data. So far as you start collecting using electronic payments, you need to register. He doesn't even know. In countries like I think Mauritius and other countries, they have got data compliance officers that go around educating people about such, so that at the end of the day you can be compliant. Yeah, but Ghana, we have got a task force going around arresting people. I don't know whether maybe they give you a first warning, and then later if you don't comply, they come and arrest you or shut down your business or fine you. But these things are some of the challenges that a number of organizations are facing, and they have to try to respond to. So in all of these things, what is data security and privacy? Now, there are quite a number of different organizations that have different definitions for this. So we'll look at some of the definitions, and from that, we will deduce our own definition. Please, if you have a question, you can actually ask, or your contribution, you can just say it as I'm going off. Okay. IBM defines data security as a practice of keeping digital information safe from being changed, stolen, or accessed by people who shouldn't be able to. Data security includes every part of the information security, from physical security of hardware and storage devices to administrative access controls and logical security of software applications. So you see that the definition here is focusing more on physical security, mention some types of security, physical security of the hardware, and then to administrative access control. So that means that you have got data security encompasses physical security. Administrative access means you're using passwords to be able to give people access to things, and then based on who they are or what their position and their role in the organization is. And the logical security of software applications. Having some softwares have got certain passwords that limit ability to be able to use it or to have all the functions enabled for you. Yeah, I don't know whether I've seen that happening in the shopping mall. If you are in ShopRite or any of the other shopping malls, even some of the China malls, somebody you go to a till and then you are buying something. You say, "Oh, you're not interested in the thing already, but it has been scanned." The only thing the person can do is to raise his hand and supervisor will come. He'll swipe a card and have access to be able to delete that entry that you don't want again from the list of list of products that have been scanned, and then thereafter your bill can be computed again for you. But in organizations that don't have such, the one will say you have to avoid the whole thing and start the whole scanning again. I don't know whether I've seen that differences. Some organizations they just call somebody to come and void that particular line of the item you don't want. Others will tell you that you have to. Oh, you should have told me earlier. Then you have to cancel it and start the whole scanning again, removing the one that you don't want. You want to buy. It shows the level of access and what people can be able to do, and the level of customization in or functionality within the application. Then physical security is important. Yes, it's important. I remember I went to teach in a private university, and the private university had their administration on the top floor. It was a 5-story building. On the top floor, that's where they had their administration, where students' records were and their results and everything were. One day, so when you have a lecture, you come to you go to the top floor and they'll give you a place to sit and you relax whilst you wait for the time for you to go down and go and teach. So one day after teaching, we usually close around 9:30. We start at 6 o'clock, we finish at 9:30. Next day, when I came the next day, 6 p.m. to come in, 5 p.m. to come and teach, I heard about a story that the computer that we was in the should I say the administrative room. There's one big computer, students' records and everything on it. The system unit had been stolen, but the monitor was still there. And we're wondering, from fifth floor, how did the person take it and travel down to sixth floor to the ground floor and walk out of a busy because the office, the building is in town, so it opens into the a major street in Accra. So as soon as the person comes down, you're going to just the street. So I was wondering how it happened. For investigation came up to show that the cleaning dustbin, that is that big one. They both carried the desktop. I don't know the system unit, put it in it and put rubbish on it, push it down and walk to the security and greeted the security and walked away with the thing. And I was wondering why would they carry only that one? And I realized that either it could be an insider, either somebody had not paid school fee or somebody's records or something like that. He just carried the whole thing, the whole system unit away. So physical security is important. You can't just secure the software. You have to secure the hardware. And sometimes the storage devices, that's the hard disks that the information is placed on. So that's the definition from IBM. The National Cybersecurity Center of Excellence in the US also, the data security is a process of keeping organizations' data private, correct, and accessible. So this one is more on the soft part, the softer issues, private, correct, and accessible. That means that if the data is not accessible when we need it, security has been breached. If the data is compromised, it's currently inaccurate, security has been breached. If the data that was supposed to be private is now public or part of it is public, security has been breached. So they look at the not just the physical security, but more of the should I say the security of the software part or the non-hardware part of the information that we have or the data we had. One, the data is on the system, so you are securing the system that controls that hosts the data. That's the desktop or the hard disk. But this one, the data itself is what we are trying to protect. That's soft elements that we call we may try that electronic one, we may or digital one, we may transfer and share with others. We want to protect that one from being from unauthorized access and unauthorized alteration and then unauthorized disclosure. We want to prevent these things from happening. Now we are doing that in alignment with the organization's risk strategy. Okay. The World Bank says that data security refers to the practice of storing and processing personal information. They went to the word personal, even for data security. personal information securely and protecting against unauthorized, I must mention that, an unlawful things here, processing, loss, theft, destruction, and damage. So they go beyond privacy to talk about unlawful processing, unlawful unlawful processing, and then the loss of the data, the theft of the data, the destruction of the data. So sometimes the stolen information may have been stolen, but it has been destroyed unlawful in an unlawful manner. Nobody authorized you to destroy the data. You have destroyed the data, and how can you set in fire the whole office in fire and all the data gets destroyed? Unless the data is in the cloud, and that one means that a physical destruction of it does not affect it in terms of the fact that it's in the cloud. And then we talk about damage and damage too. So it's not just about unauthorized loss, theft, and destruction, but also damage. Okay, then Oracle said that data security encompasses various safeguards. Okay, so he is saying that it is a plethora of safety issues that we have to put together. One, to prevent the data from unauthorized access, confirming what World Bank was saying and confirming what the cybersecurity team was also saying. Number two, unauthorized access and to uphold the principles of data confidentiality. These are the principles of information security. That's what he's talking about. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We call it the CIA principles. C is confidentiality, I is integrity, A is availability. So he's talking about we want to safeguard the data from unauthorized access, and then to also keep it from private. We want to ensure confidentiality, integrity, that the thing has not been altered unlawfully on an unauthorized manner, and then availability, that when we want it is accessible. So it is confirming the definition that National Cybersecurity told us: accessibility, and then integrity, then what confidentiality. These things are very, very important. And indirectly, it's also confirming unlawful, unauthorized processing. Yes, loss and theft and destruction, damage. But it goes on to tell you some of the approaches you can use for safeguarding your data. That is one. Data encryption, we'll talk about that later. Key management, data reduction, and data subsetting, and data masking. Privileged access users control. That means that only those who are supposed to have access will have access. Auditing and monitoring are crucial in ensuring data protection. Then the corporate finance institute. The reason why I'm using all these examples, most of them come from different sectors of the economy. So I'm just trying to cover as much as I can cover. Data security is a fundamental practice that encompasses what? The safeguarding again data information from unauthorized access, corruption. Remember, somebody said damage. What bank said damage? Distraction. They also said distraction. Alteration. Remember, I mentioned alteration earlier, then theft and exposure. Confirming what World Bank said. It's not surprising. You're all both financial houses. But he goes on to say that we should safeguard the physical hardware, such as the storage devices, implementation of logical security measures for software applications. Okay. And some of them, they even have, nowadays, they're even doing certain kind of security measures on some types of systems that you also need a key before you can able to have access to it, a physical key. So they're giving you a device that can even generate tokens, and that if you generate the token, you put the token inside it, work, or the actual key, like a key that you may hold physically, may have to be with you, and the key may be scanned digitally. Then the car, it's like your car telling you that it cannot come on because of you can't sense the presence of there's no presence of the key here. So even if you are pressing the start button with your leg on the brake, it's still not responding because it wants the presence of a key. Okay. And then establishment of administrative and access controls, adherence to organizational policy standards, and adoption of various data security practices. Okay. Now, if you look at it very carefully, IBM focuses more on keeping data information safe and emphasizing the information security, like the physical, logical, and administrative controls. The Cybersecurity Center of Excellence is also a concise definition that look at data privacy, stressing data privacy, accuracy, and accessibility, and what alignment to the organizational risk. The CFI also looks at comprehensive explanation of emphasizing safeguarding principles against multiple threats and outlining various techniques and technology. World Bank is telling us that protection of personal information. That's the only one that mentioned personal information. Oracle talks about confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and how to be able to achieve that. Okay, so when you compare them, you can see that there are some of them that are actually pointing out what we should look at. In terms of data security, Oracle is pointing out to some of the security measures, security strategies like data encryption, key management, data reduction. And then National Cyber Security Center and Excellence uniquely centers its definition on alignment with organizations' risk strategy. Okay, World Bank is talking about unlawful processing on unauthorized processing. Okay. Oracle talks about certain principles, the CIA principles. World Bank mentions some secure storage and processing, which are as part of what they emphasize. And then cybersecurity talks about privacy, private, and then the data being private and correct. This is my definition of data security. Data security is a holistic approach to protecting, I believe I'm coming, protecting data information from unauthorized access, changes, theft, and exposure, ensuring its confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, what I've tried in this definition is to tell you some of what I don't want to happen: unauthorized access, changes, theft, and exposure. I've also told you that in doing so, we want to ensure that the data, there is some end that we want to achieve. The end is that the data is confidential, it has integrity, its integrity is confirmed, and it's also available. So what I've tried to do is to look at the ends and then look at the process to the ends. So the process to the ends is that we should use a holistic approach to protect the data information so that we don't get from unauthorized access, changes, and theft and exposure. So my strategies are built around this. But the aim is to make sure that there's confidentiality, there's integrity, and availability of the data. Okay. So this is partly, and I will go on that this part encompasses a myriad of strategies for safeguarding physical hardware and implementing logical software controls to adhering to organizational policies and risk. Okay. Please, I saw a hand up. Let me answer that question as we go on.
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kept seeing some logical software and logical yeah, I think logical software. And some other one also had logical something. Yeah, so I wanted to ask what that was.
Let's look for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
No, this is privacy. Oh, I've jumped. I went to I went for I have to go backwards. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Let's start from so okay, do you see it here? This is the first one.
Okay, logical security. Yeah.
Okay. Then you say you saw another one.
Yeah, that one was the logical software. So I was asking what does that mean?
Okay. Logical security and logical software.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to mention it? Okay, so look at the word logical security of what software applications. Now, usually when you are talking about logical security, you are referring to people using software-based measures to protect your digital information, such as your data, your network, your applications. So there's no tampering from, there's no unauthorized access or tampering or theft. Now, what it will do is that it will use mechanisms such as one, password, number two, to also use something like what I mentioned earlier, um, the two-factor authentication. All of them are logical software security measures. What it means is that the person is using this software-based security measures to protect the digital information or digital access. Now, if you talk about physical security, there is going to actually then make sure that there is a beeping sound whenever the item is moved away. So there is something attached to it, and there is maybe an RFID sticker attached to it that if it moves out of this particular radius, there should be a blow of there should be an alarm. That one has to be a physical security of the hardware. The logical security will be more of the software-based measures that you use to protect the same data that you have. Please, you understand it. So anything that has to do with a software-based measure for security is be more of a logical security measure. While the physical one will be the ones that you see in your shopping mall and things that as you move, they'll put a tag in it. As you move across something, the thing will be beep, 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 beep. You realize it. That is protecting physical security. Hello, the gentleman who asked.
Yeah, I've gotten it.
Good. Good. So when you are being told that your password should be eight letters, capital letter, one alphabet, one number, and then one alphanumeric value or one character or something like that, or one symbol. What it's trying to do is enhance the logical security of whatever application that it's protecting. So that the more complex the password, the more difficult it is that people can easily guess it. Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But in when we start talking about data security measures, we'll go into detail. We'll talk about access control, the different types of access control, and we may briefly mention network security, something that helps you to be able to do what you call intrusion detection. As soon as somebody is trying to enter into a machine, you are notified. I don't know those of you who have got internet security from Norton Antivirus, the internet version. You see that sometimes you have a firewall that as soon as somebody is tell that it has blocked your machine from 3 intrusions. Have you ever seen that before? It has blocked your machine from 5 attempted intrusions. Who has ever seen that before? Your total security or your internet security software, antivirus software telling you this story. None of you have seen it before. Hey, or you don't have antivirus on your machines nowadays. Okay, I see one hand was up. Okay, so Susanna, okay, you have seen it. Okay, you have seen it. Then thank you very much. So it tells you it has blocked the machine from attempted attacks. Those of you who are paying attention to your computers and stuff, you see that it will tell you. Especially it can give you a daily report if you open your antivirus and your antivirus is updated. Can give you a daily report of what intrusions, how many intrusions it blocked. Even the Windows Defender does it. The one from Windows. Okay. Now we have seen data security here. Let's look at data privacy. Data privacy from Forbes says that it's based on the premise that personal identifiable information belongs to an individual. And the individual should be able to determine who and what and how and whom have information, access to that information, and how the information is accessed or communicated. So data privacy is more about what is about you and the protection of what is concerning you that can identify you. So privacy is not more about the organization. Privacy is more about the individual. Please understand it very well. Privacy is more about the individual, personal identifiable information, which belongs to you as an individual and how it's being protected. Harvard Business School online talks about data privacy or information privacy is a subcategory of data protection encompassing the ethical and legal obligation to protect access to personally identifiable information, the same thing. But he's talking about the legal and the ethical obligation to protect access. Wellpan talks about data privacy as adherence to legal and regulatory requirements and establish privacy principles in data collection, storage, and processing and sharing. Wellpan is trying to point out in our bid to be able to collect the data and process it, we want to make sure that privacy principles are adhered to. That at the end of the day, we safeguard the information in terms of it being personal and confidential for the person. And when we go beyond data privacy and data security, we then have the broader one called data governance. We don't want to talk into that. I mentioned I don't want to get into that today. So in looking at the definitions, Forbes is looking at personally identifiable information for the individual, and that the person should be able to control who has access and who can use that data. But Harvard World Bank does not directly talk about individual-centric perspective of control, but they touch on the protection of personal data. So Forbes is pointing out that it's not just about protection of personal data, but the individual should have control who can do what to the data. That's why if you look at your TVs now, and sometimes they tell you to agree to some privacy issues, and they put some things in fine print below it. What are they trying to do? They are trying to make sure that the information that is there is about the individual, and do you agree to this information they're asking you? They ask you that this information, whilst you are using this TV, will collect information about this and this, and then do you agree? And you'll be clicking. So most of you, because you want to switch on the TV, you just say agree, but you don't know what you're agreeing. Sometimes you're agreeing that the information should be sent from your TV to maybe Korea to help them build better systems, and to be done without your knowledge. Okay, let's come to because of time, let's come to my final definition. My definition was that data privacy is an ethical and legal commitment to safeguarding personally identified information. So it's an ethical pathway and it's a legal pathway. So if it is not just ethical, is not legal. So we have to make sure that we are not just thinking about ethics, we are thinking about the legality of it. Grounded in the belief that such information belongs to the individual. I also believe that part. But I point out that information belongs to individual, and that individual has the right to control, determine, and restrict how, when, and with whom their data is shared and communicated. So sometimes even Samsung will tell you that this information about you, we are asking permission that we can share it with our third parties, and they will even find out who are the third parties. Who can they be able to deal with, who cannot they not be able to deal with? Yeah. Data privacy encompasses the adherence to established legal, regulatory, and ethical frameworks during data collection, storage, processing, and dissemination of data, serving as a pivotal aspect of the broader data governance and protection practices. So in data privacy, we are making sure that we are adhering to legal, regulatory, and ethical frameworks. When we as an organization are collecting data from people, we are storing the data, processing and disseminating the data. We have to understand the people's rights concerning it. So untangling these data terminologies, what is this data we have been talking about, and what's the differences between that and all the other things we have said? Data is just referring to our raw unprocessed facts and figures that are collected and stored and analyzed. It represents an objective description of the events. So, for example, when I go to the shopping mall and I go and buy items, those items that are there that a person will scan and use it to be able to tell me that I have to pay 300 Ghana. It was data that was being generated, and the data is being generated to a particular receipt. The receipt that is processed out of the data is an information. But when I look at it, I can be able to tell you I bought 8 items, and averagely the 8 items cost this, or I bought 8 items and it cost me this. Good. So data will then be the individual items and their scan elements. This one is 2 cities, this one is 3 cities. Those are the data. When we put it together as a report in a summarized form, then we can get what? Information. Now, what is surprising is that sometimes what is information to somebody is data to another person. Let me explain it again. When we come to you applying to University of Ghana, your application information that you are giving to graduate school is data you are giving to them. The graduate school will process it and come up with a list of applicants who, in consultation with the department, have been accepted. But if the HOD writes a report on 2026 admission, 27 people applied, 18 people accepted. Out of the 18 people that are accepted, 3 of them are female, the rest are male. 3 of them are from this background, the rest are from this. What he's doing is that he is processing the data, whichever means he's doing it, and turning it into information. But if he carries that same data 3 people, like Kwesi Menu, male, female, Konongo Secondary School, first class. I wish I would become this second upper. Then you put it there. Go to Adjamin. That those data that he has on the single Excel sheet. If he can't just go to dump it in front of the vice chancellor, it's noise. The vice chancellor, unless necessary, is not looking for that minute type of data in granular type of data in this form like that. He's trying to even look, not even what your HOD is writing, he's trying to look at it overall. How many students were admitted, applied to College of Humanities? How many of them were admitted? Which of the schools or the college, the departments in the college had a dominant number of students, and what they do about it? That is the kind of level that vice chancellor, very abstracted, high level, is what you'll be thinking about. Okay. So data then becomes processed and turned into information. But what is data to somebody, depending on the person interpreting it, can become what? Noise. Even. Another thing that I want to say is that information, when it's applied with a given context, to be able to achieve a particular a particular outcome, is then can then lead to what we call knowledge. Mm. So knowledge then becomes the meaningful links we make with information at a given point, at a given time, a given context. That meaningful links you're able to make with information. So sometimes if you're able to, information can be there. If you don't make meaningful links to it, it doesn't become knowledge. It just becomes still information. Good. Please, you can ask questions if you are confused. So there are different types of data. There is quantitative data, that's the numerical data that can be measured or counted. Qualitative data, data that can be observed but not measured. I think this one you may have learned about the structured data, data that has specific format or structure, such as in databases, spreadsheets, in a table format that has got this clear and dimensions of what is in the row, what is in the column. Then unstructured data, data that doesn't have a specific format or structure, such as emails, videos, and text. Now, throughout your program, you're working with different forms of data beyond these, including these and beyond. So understanding these types of data and what we can do with them and what we use them for will matter. Okay. Then we can also have different types of data in terms of the form in which the data was collected. If a researcher goes to the field to collect data, we call it primary data. But if the same researcher goes to World Bank website and pick the data from there, we call it secondary data. Now, the primary data is the one which is collected by a source for a purpose that you're going to use it for. The secondary data is collected by someone else, and then someone is interpreting the data using it for a work, and that one is called secondary data. As for big data, I think most of you know about this large complex data set that are difficult to process using traditional method, and they come in very varied forms. There's veracity, and they're in diverse type of they come in diverse type of a higher volume is produced at a time. That's the volume, and then you also have the variety in terms of the diversity within the data itself, and then you also have what again velocity, the speed at which the data is coming. So there are about the 5 V's of the 5 V's of good, thank you. The 5 V's of big data, which I think you talk about in some of the courses that you are doing. Good. Let me say that I've talked about data, I've talked about these things. Now, can somebody give me an example of what is data in his office and what is information in his office? Using his office as an example. Or maybe something from your own personal life, what you may consider as data and what you may consider as information. I just want to see whether you understand the logic between the two. Hmm. Please, can somebody, yes, you can go, please. So we can wrap it up right now. Yes, the 5 V's. So I said five. Joanna, yes, let's go. What is data in your office and what is information in your office?
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. So our work, we are able to calculate the transactions of every person that purchases like data. So every time that purchase comes in, we have a DB, like a database that's all the transactions go to. But that in itself is just raw data. How that is transferred into information is that we are able to know which of the data the purchases went successfully if the account has been credited. So being able to translate every single transaction that goes through the system and to be able to interpret it as okay, this purchase has gone successfully, and sometimes being able to differentiate from various price points. Okay, so based on the data that came in, we're seeing that okay, this price point is a bestseller, or people are most likely to buy on this particular price point. So basically, that's how data in my company is interpreted to be information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So at what point will you call that this same data becomes at that point did you get knowledge in your view?
Okay, from my perspective, it's when we're able to translate the purchases that were coming in into information to be able to make business case decisions. In a sense that based on the transactions that came in, we saw that maybe the price point of 12 cities is what is giving us the most packages. So we'll ensure that across all our data packages, that's what is like going across board. So that's when it became information, when it was giving us insight.
That's the point became what became knowledge. Is it you said information? Knowledge. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your demonstrating that you understand, Joanna. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So in your off, I'm just saying sometimes in some offices, this type of data is coming at a very high speed. So in terms of volume, you are very high, massive scale. They are coming from diverse places, and then they are coming. You just imagine some having an email. You have an email server, and people are using the emails. People are sending emails here and there. So much data is being created. So when you have a high volume in terms of the mass, how's the scale of the data that is coming in, and then the speed at which is very, the velocity is also very high and it's coming very fast, faster than you can even process it manually in any form. And even sometimes your typical using your Excel to do quick analysis of it is not, you're not able to keep up. Then you also have diversity of the data is varied. So that means that there are different forms. If it's emails, they are coming in different forms. I've seen that one working on help desks, especially during admission time, and then students are asking questions from here and there. You have got somebody asking my password is not working. Somebody is saying that the password has come, but it went to his spam. And then when you use the password, now it has expired. Somebody is also asking a question about should he apply for 2 courses or 3 courses? Is this course compulsory or not compulsory? All of these are coming from there. So there's diverse types of data that in terms of variety. Then there's uncertainty. You can't predict the next email, what will come. Can't predict it. So there's also what we call veracity. And then all of these things, if you are able to find a way of intelligently analyzing them, like what you are doing in this program, then we can create value out of it. Then we can be able to leverage the data that is coming. So big data, at a point in time, the organization receives so much data that it is in terms of volume, in terms of veracity, in terms that's on the uncertainty with it, you can't predict what will come next. In terms of variety, in the diverse types of data that is coming, then you also have in terms of speed that it is coming. By the time you realize that you have to then find a way of analyzing it, analyzing the data with that much at the same speed at which it is coming, so that you can be able to make good value. And otherwise, you may lose opportunities, or you may even have situations that you may not be able to recover from because maybe something just slipped through. You had a stage of big data when the organization faces, but sometimes it's not all the five V's that are active in your organization. Maybe there may be volume, but it may be the same type of data that is coming. So there's no veracity. There's no it's not. There's no much uncertainty with it. There's no much variety with it. So there's volume, there is speed, and then there's value to be created. But there is no much variety in it. There's no veracity in it. In terms of uncertainty, you can predict that this all the data that is coming is just about I'm paying my school fees, I'm paying my school fees, I'm paying my school fees. Out of your 7,000 students, I'm paying my school fees. So you can really predict the data that is coming in. So you can still have some of the veins being ticked, but not all the veins may be ticked. But if you have all the veins ticked, then you are in trouble. You are in trouble. You have a lot of work to do to be able to analyze. So throughout the semester, when you are analyzing data, you should be thinking about the way the data is coming in, and how you are able to build systems and algorithms to be able to even receive the data, process it in real time, and then give actionable insights to senior management or management to be able to work on it. Okay. So in a nutshell, data security is more of a component of information security that specifically deals with data in contrast to other information assets. It's foundational to data privacy because without security, privacy cannot be assured. However, data privacy concerns the way personal data is handled, processed, and stored, ensuring that individuals retain ownership and control. While data security provides the means to protect the data, privacy is concerned about the proper handling of data according to relevant laws and ethical standards so that the person can control the data. You, the individual, can control the data about you, identifiable information about you. So data security is not just about identifying information about you, it's just about data in general. But when you talk about privacy, you're talking about data which is more about identifying you. So you can have security without privacy. That is, the data may be safe from hackers, but it can be safe from hackers, but can be used inappropriately by an organization who owns it. Meaning that the hackers cannot access it. But at the end of the day, the information on it can be shared with other members of the department. But you want you want to be able to determine when it can be shared and when it cannot be shared. They didn't ask permission from you from that. The data is secured, but there's no privacy in the data, meaning that almost everybody has access in the organization has access to everybody all the data, which you don't want it like that. You want privacy means that you can be able to control who has access. And that's where privacy is. So data security may be assured, but privacy may not be attained. We want to try to attain privacy. We also want to attain security. What does it mean? It means that if Samsung collects information about me watching their TV and then the type of shows I watch, Samsung can keep this information secure, security assured. But if Samsung is sharing the data with a third party, Samsung needs to inform me that my data is being given to TCL or is being given to Microsoft to be able to improve their digital services. I have to give permission before Samsung can give it. Then privacy is assured. So privacy is when I can be able to control who has access to my personally identifiable information, or that information that comes from my use of the service. But data security has to be much of the security of the whole data that has been collected. So privacy should be assured, security should be assured. Don't just think about giving people security without ensuring privacy. Please, you understand it. Oh, please be honest. If you don't understand, I can take it again. Or which part don't you understand? Okay, Beniza says yes. Okay. Um, Lady T. Okay, Lady T says yes. Okay. Thank you. I think there's another person to say. Gideon says yes. Okay. Good. 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 I don't know about Ife. Ife, do you also say yes? Don't say yes because people are saying yes. So. Okay, so privacy should be assured as much as security is also assured. Okay, Antoinette says yes. Okay, good. Thank you very much. So data governance that we'll study later in the year is encompasses both the data security and data privacy. But usually it talks about the holistic collection of policies that come together to manage data and leverage data for business value in the organization. The holistic, all of them coming together. Now, data protection is a broader term than data privacy. It refers to put the processes and strategies used to safeguard data from corruption, compromise, or loss. This can relate to personal or non-personal data. That's how it is. That's about just protecting the data from corruption and from theft and all the kinds of. And it's both the physical protection and then the logical protection. Okay. Information security is more about information assets. Okay. Somebody will confuse here. Now, when your report is in my office, it's information. I lock in my office protects the information. That you can't go into my office to pick it up. Now, but the data that generated the information is in my subordinate's office, let's say my TA's office. That data is in a table on Excel on a machine. The report that was written out of it is in my office, it's being protected. The unprocessed data is on his watch. He doesn't have any password. It's not protected. So I can achieve information security, but may have not achieved data security. Even though information security in its entirety is supposed to protect the two, you have to be assured that whilst you're protecting information, you're also protecting the data. It's not always that people protect both of them. People think that behavior of people, behavior of organization members will lead to the protection of information. Yes, the data, you have the data, but the information is in your head. You go to a beer bar, you drink a little bit and start talking about. You're not talking data. If you say I've not 300, Kwesi 250, Ajwa 700, you're not giving us the context. So we don't understand information, just data you're point. We are just listening to you. But if I say Ajwa 300, Kwesi 360, and I'm the information systems lecturer, and somebody is smart to see that he's talking about examination results. So he just finished. And what were you doing, Prof, before you came here? I was marking, trying my bread. And as I started, I just 70, I could say 30, this thing. Everybody will start linking the two because I gave some data that they put together to process that they got information. So we want to protect information, we also want to protect our data. But sometimes some people are more concerned about protecting the information. They don't realize that somebody with the data can put things together and reproduce the information. Some people too are more concerned about protecting the data, they don't protect the information, not knowing that people can take decisions based on the information. So both of them are needed in protection in information security. We want to see that information security is approach of protecting the thing from the data source to the time it becomes processed to be an output, protect the whole chain. Okay. Data privacy and data governance and data protection are closely linked information security, but focus more on the management and handling the rights associated with data. Information security covers a wide range of assets. Data security focuses specifically on digital data, which is also true. So information security will look at even those on paper, while data security will look at those which are digital. Okay. So please don't be confused. Note that at the end of the day, you have started well. Information security and privacy. You have got to understand that security is looking at the way we handle and proper handling and proper handling of and rights about data has to do with privacy, and the protection of the data has to do with security and also with privacy. Data governance is more about the overarching framework that deals with the data management from beginning to the end. When you give me opportunity, which of them will I do? Will I protect the data? Will I do data privacy or will I do data security? I'll do both, but I'll start with security whilst respecting people's privacy. What did I say? I will start with security whilst respecting people's privacy. As I collect data from you, I will still respect your privacy by asking a question. Do you want me to seek your consent when I'm sharing the data? Yes. I've protected I've asked your privacy. I've taken privacy into consent. But if you don't do that, you can protect the data and not ensure privacy. Privacy is give the person opportunity to also have a say, a right in how you use my data. In fact, I can like go to the hospital, you can go because of privacy, you can go to the hospital and request that all your lab results and they should be photocopied, even if it's at a cost, and given to you because it's your data. But people don't know, and it's even in the Data Protection Act. You have the right to that data that the hospital is processing concerning you. Thank you very, very much. So we have been able to finish earlier than the 8:13 that we are supposed to, and a few minutes earlier than that. We would have finished earlier if we all came early. Okay. So thank you very much. I want to say it has been a nice time having our first class with you. I'm very happy to meet Lady T, meet with Benjamin, meet with quite a number of the different people. Hey, if I says I should take it again, or if is it better now? I didn't see it. Sorry. Is it better now?
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you.
Okay, so I have been able to listen to Daniela's nice voice in reading for us. If it just spoke. We got Joanna to also share a few way in on some issues for us. Marcus Perry also came in. Michael Kobna Atta also contributed meaningfully to our discussions. Ben did well. Every time we needed some example, Ben was up to it for us. So thank you, Ebenezer Fosutu, the gentleman with swag, also did a good job for us. So thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Antoinette, thank you too very much for joining me to teach the class. Thank you very much. So I will share the slides with you and then I will extract the chapter 1 for you. I think by next week you may have the free book, but I know some people want to read ahead, so let's get the chapter 1 for you to read. Thank you very, very much. And thanks for coming to this class. Okay. There's no
Prof, please, will the recording be shared?
if you want, I can share it because I recorded. But like you said on the platform, you guys are also encouraged to record. But I will share the recording.
Okay. Yes, for those who may later join the class and would have missed this class, so they can have that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you too. Okay, have a good evening. Thank you. Some people are clapping because they want to go and eat their fufu and manku in the evening. I've left them to go eat. So at them like this, and some Tuesday she's going to eat. So she's giving me thumbs up. At them, remember me when you're eating your Tuesday. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's become early so that we can listen to some songs before we start. Okay then. Bye bye.